I never thought it would happen to me. It always happened to other girls. You know the ones who had lots of boyfriends or whose parents weren't around. No, not me. I was too smart for this to happen. I was raised in a family where we were taught to respect each other and their opinions. Not me. I had lots of friends and was very active in school. Definitely not me. When I was a freshman, I began dating a senior. Wow, a senior boy liked me and wanted to date me. No way. I was starstruck by this thought. I began double dating with 2 other friends of his. We started to do everything together. My parents really seemed to like him and accept him into our family. Eventually, I convinced my parents to let us go out on our own. I fell head over heels for him, not realizing the influence he had on me. I didn't see the control he had over me. After a while, he started to manipulate me into lying to my parents. Every time we went out, we would fight and I would end up in tears. He started to consistently take me home after curfew on purpose and I would be grounded. I spent the better part of my sophomore year grounded. When I wasn't grounded and able to go out, he berated me so much that I actually thought that I was all of the things that he called me and that I deserved it. It got to the points where my parents would ground me for the littlest things, like not having a chore done the right way, for rolling my eyes, or anything else they found that I was doing wrong. They were just trying to keep me away from him. I hated my parents. They didn't understand what it was like to be a teenager. In reality, they saw the real him and what he was doing to me. My parents had no idea the oppression I felt from them. Ironically, I did not feel any oppression from the boy. During the course of our relationship, the control became more and more intense. I didn't see it at the time as control, I only saw it as his love for me. I couldn't be in a bad relationship. I was smarter than that. I could see the signs. He began controlling the clothes that I wore, the music that I listened to, and what I did before and after school. He caused me to sleep with a baseball bat in my bed because he had threatened to kill me. He manipulated me into doing things with him that I wasn't ready for, physically or emotionally. He took things from me that I could never get back. I began to flinch when anybody touched me. I wasn't allowed to have my own opinions or voice. Still, I just saw his love for me. Then one day I woke up. I realized that this wasn't the kind of relationship that I had always dreamed of. I knew this, but I didn't know how to break up with him and tell my parents that I needed help and that they had been right all along. As I started to look back over the course of my relationship with this guy, I saw that he had started this manipulation within the very first month of our dating. One day during my sophomore year, he called the school to talk to me. The school had told him that I had checked out of school after 5th hour. I was in school the whole day. There was a girl in my school whose name was very close to mine. She was the one who checked out early. He didn't believe me. I had a 3-week trip to Europe planned for the summer after my sophomore year. I was one of 8 girls selected in the Girl Scout Council to attend this trip. My family and I had spent over 2 years fundraising for this trip and was really looking forward to it. He decided 3 weeks before that he didn't want me to go. So it was to be, that I wouldn't go because he said so. The thing was, I really wanted to go. I knew that this would be an opportunity of a lifetime. I told him that I was going, and I did, and I had a great time. He became furious with me with my decision. He also didn't want me to go to college. He wanted me to be his and his only. He wanted me to go to Mexico with him and get married. I knew something had to be done. I had finally started seeing that I needed to get out of this relationship. Then I struggled with, how do I admit that my parents were right? I didn't know how to go to them for help. My parents began seeing the sign that this relationship needed to end, quickly. They saw that I wasn't their happy-go-lucky kid that they were used to. My parents were picking up on this and told me that I wasn't allowed to see him anymore. I was angry with them on the outside, but on the inside, I was very relieved. A few years ago, my mom and I were talking about this time during my teenage years. I finally told her the whole story, the parts that she didn't see. She was astounded. She told me she always wondered why I didn't fight them when they told me I could no longer see this boy. I told her that I knew that they were right, I just didn't know how to tell them that. Most of the time when people think of domestic violence or dating abuse, they usually think of it as physical abuse, hitting, punching, kicking. What people tend to overlook is the emotional abuse, the manipulation and control. Like any other abuse, it's about power in a relationship. We need to stop overlooking any kind of abuse that we see in our friends, classmates, brothers, sisters, sons, or daughters. Family, Career, and Community Leader of America's national programs, such as Stop the Violence or Families First, can educate students about the signs of abuse and how to get out of an abusive relationship through the power of peer education.